Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of TEVAdrive. And this time around we are doing a comparing this Mercedes EQE500, which you may have seen some reviews already, but to make it more interesting, we decided to compare it with this Tesla Model S long range. Why is that? That's because the top version of this Mercedes EQE500, the AMG 53 version, is priced exactly the same and has exactly the same performance characteristics as the Tesla Model S long range, non-plaid. So this is what we have here today. We are shooting it again at Tesla in Barrie. The 400 highway is right here. And so we'll give you our space impressions and our driving impressions of both cars. Let's start with the Mercedes EQE. We're gonna jump inside, show you first of all some of the outside features. You have the blacked out grille in front, the LED lights here, no fogs. The fogs are built into the main light beam. The front that doesn't open, it can only be opened by the service department. And that's why, just like with the EQS, you have this area here, which is basically to refill the windshield washer. You open this, and that's where you refill the windshield washer. Otherwise, you don't touch the front end of the car. Normally, these handles present themselves, but if the car locks itself, the way you open it, just like with the EQS, you swipe it, and the handles present themselves, and then you open it. You have to watch this because sometimes the handles can catch your finger. If you happen to put your fingers inside as the car is trying to lock itself, it can catch your finger, and that can hurt. It happened almost to me, and it happened to my son with the EQS as well. Okay, so let's jump in and show you the interior space. First of all, in the front. So we've been driving it for about a week now. This car here is not equipped with the hyper screen, so it has two separate screens. The dashboard, and we'll tell you our opinion about this main dashboard here. Plus you have the vertical screen here, kind of similar to Tesla, but it's not as big as Tesla's. Cup holders are here with a nice cover. More storage here under arms with USB-Cs, strictly only USB-Cs. So you have to have the USB-C to USB-C cable with you in order to use certain features, but the car obviously has wireless charging, which is right here. It tends to overheat my phone for whatever reason, so here's the wireless chargers down there. And you have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but we'll come back to that later. Just very briefly, very comfortable position in front. Let us see what the space will be in the back for a person of my stature, which is 6'3" or 190 centimeters. Plenty of room here in the front. Let's see the back and then compare it with the Model S. Okay, so let's jump in the back. Frameless doors, just like the Model S in the EQE. And you can see here the car is taller than Tesla, so you're sitting in the back, your sitting position is taller as well. Very similar foot space and leg space here in the EQE. It's again, for myself with another tall person driving, plenty of space for your legs and your feet, quite comfortable. In terms of the headroom, because of the panoramic sunroof, I have quite a bit of room. Again, we'll show you the same position in the Tesla. It's very similar position and headroom here in the back row as well. Once you close the blind, then I'm pretty much touching the soft blind, so it doesn't bother me that much. So that's about it for the back room. Here in the back you have just the passenger screens to control, just like our Audi e-tron. Simple controls for climate, seat heaters, etc., where the Tesla has the screen, the large screen for the back seats. In the EQE, you only have the heating vents in the middle. You do not have the heating vents on the B pillar. Okay, so now let's show you the trunk space.
Armrest.
In the EQE. Oh, the armrest here basically is, you have to touch it twice. There you go. The armrest has the cup holders, which you slide out and then you slide it back in. All right, let's check out the trunk space in the EQE. The way you open you can open it with a key, or you can open it basically by pressing the Mercedes logo, and the trunk opens. You see the 40-60 split seats in the back. It's quite ample. We just had a couple of, actually three, one big suitcase and two carry-ons here in the trunk the other day. So it's enough for that. It's not huge, and it's smaller than the EQS, obviously. Here is the little storage area for cables, perhaps, and a tire repair kit under the floor of the trunk. Now, the cable that comes with a nice little case. So the cable itself would fit nicely in that compartment under the floor, but this case won't. That's why you have this nice case, but it takes up a lot of room in the back. So if you're traveling, you'll probably leave it at home and put the charging cable in the compartment under the floor. However, one remark here, this is strictly a level 1 charger. So they just plug it into a level, so it's an emergency charger only. It's not a dual voltage with replaceable plugs like you see in some of the other EVs we reviewed recently. It's strictly a level 1, and it looks identical to our old i3 charger made by Delphi. All right, so that's about it. Let's close the trunk and give you the walk around of, let's close the trunk. There we go. The one thing we wanted to mention to you, because we had hard time finding it, but in order to put down the seats, the buttons are here. Left seat back and right seat back is right here. So when you press it, the seat goes down, and then let me press the other button now, and the seats go down there. So that's how you put the rear seat backs down. Okay, let's close it up, and let's compare it now with the Model S. We're starting with the front seat. Okay, the key is inside the car. How do we open the car now? I wonder. There we go. They gave us the card, for a test drive the car. So right now I'll be sitting in the front. Of course, you've got the yoke, which is a bit of a joke. Not my favorite. A lot of buyers are opting for the standard wheel, which you can have. I believe it's an extra option to have a standard wheel. So we have the comfortable position. Let's just, okay, so there you go. Let's take down the sound of the radio. So basically I'm in a comfortable position here. You have the two chargers, the wireless phone chargers here. You have a nice cover for the cup holders and the storage area here. So kind of similar. And then here you have more storage inside under the armrest as well. So let's now jump in the back and compare the headroom and the legroom in the back of the car. Now, when you position them side by side, I took a lot of pictures. You will notice that the Tesla seems to be a bit longer, but the EQE is actually taller. So, you'll see that difference in the front, which the Mercedes doesn't have, and in the trunk space as well, which is bigger or appears to be bigger in the Tesla Model S. All right, so let's jump into the back seat and compare the headroom and legroom space. So again, very similar to the EQE. You have in the Mercedes, you have of course the opening panorama sunroof, and here you have a fixed glass roof. Headroom is very similar, almost identical for my headroom in the back seat, and also almost identical space for my feet and for my legs. The big difference here, you've got this entertainment screen, which comes standard in the Model S, and you can watch YouTube videos, etc., etc. You can also adjust the climate for the back seats, heating, etc., etc. Your cup holders are here, so in order to unfold them, there's a button here. To unfold this section, you have two cup holders, two wireless phone chargers, and some storage under the armrest. There we go. Let's check out the trunk space. You might be familiar with it, but it will be good to compare it now with the EQE. So you have the partial shelf here. Now you can of course fold it down like this to have it totally covered. The Model Y, for example, doesn't come with any shelf at all. The Model S does. You have the trunk space is shallower, but you have this very large storage under the floor. So you have definitely the trunk in the Model S is larger. When you calculate the total space available, it's larger, it's longer and deeper than the EQE. Then again, we have to mention, of course, that you can have the EQE starting at only 85,000 for the 350 EQE. Then you have this one here, which is the middle model, EQE500, starting at 95,000 as equipped. Right now this car is 120,000. Or you can go to the top of the line, which will be then comparable with the Tesla Model S. You can go to the EQE53 AMG, which is 120,000 starting price, and in the most powerful version. So you have the EQE350. They all have 90 kilowatt hours battery, which the Tesla Model S is 100. So it's a smaller battery than Model S. The horsepower on the base version of the 350 is 288 horsepower, good for about 6.3 seconds, 0 to 100. This EQE500 is about 400 horsepower, good for about 4.7 seconds acceleration. And then the EQE53 AMG is 670 horsepower, good for about 3.5 seconds acceleration. All of them having the 90 kilowatt hour battery, and all of them being 4MATIC all-wheel drive, of course. So that's about it for our walk around comparison. We're gonna jump in the EQE500 to give you our driving impressions very briefly. We won't be going through the screen menus because we have a very extensive EQS Mercedes video that gives you all the options on the screen. So very quick driving impressions of the EQE. And of course, many of you have already test driven the Tesla Model S. We encourage you to compare these two cars before you decide. They are definitely comparable size-wise, price-wise, and everything else, with the big difference being that you can get a base model EQE for much less money, almost 40 grand less than the Tesla Model S. So that's about it. Okay, now let's jump inside and go for a test drive. All right, guys, so we're inside the 2023 Mercedes EQE 500. Like we mentioned before, this is the mid-range model with 400 horsepower, 4.5 second acceleration from 0 to 100. The price starts at 95. As equipped here, it's about 120 grand. Below this sits the EQE 350, which has 288 horsepower, good for about 6.5 seconds from 0 to 100. And above that sits the model, the EQE53 AMG, which is the top spec model for the EQE electric, which matches the base Tesla Model S, which we just compared it with. And that starts at 120 grand, exactly the same price as a Tesla. And that's the one that also matches the Tesla performance at 3.5 seconds from 0 to 100. Now, the big difference, of course, is range, where the Tesla has a 500 kilometer range. This car is just over 400. One of the reasons for that is that the battery here is 90 kilowatt hours versus 100 kilowatt hours on the Tesla. The drag coefficient here is super low. I don't have the exact figure. We can post it afterwards. But both the EQS and EQE have very low drag coefficient. As you can see, the steeply raked windshield here, and the bean shaped of the whole car, front and back as well. All right, so we won't be going through the menus here. This car is equipped with the standard screens, which is the 2 separate screens, which is also the standard equipment for the EQS. However, in our review of the EQS, we happen to have on the test car the Hyper screen. The Hyper screen covers this entire gray area, including the passenger area. I personally prefer the Hyper screen, and I'll tell you why. Because here, the way I'm comfortably positioned with the steering wheel, right now the top left and top right corner are cut off from my sight. I don't see them. So when the indicators are on, I cannot see the indicators at all. In order to see that corner of the dashboard, I have to raise the wheel, way too high. And if I raise it like this, then I do not see the head-up display. So it doesn't make any sense. So for that reason, my preference would be to go with a hyper screen, and it's a few grand option. Honestly, if you're buying this car for close to 100 grand, spend a few grand more, go with a hyper screen. Then your passenger has their own screen. They can fiddle with navigation, entertainment, etc. while you concentrate on driving. So that's just my preference. Now, the problem with the hyper screen is that there is no physical buttons here at all. So those physical buttons that you see at the bottom here are relegated to this place here, which is not a very good spot, because then you have to take your eyes off the road in order to operate those buttons. So in this layout, those buttons being here, they are better positioned. So both layouts have pros and cons. That's it. We won't be going through any more menus because they are identical to the EQS, identical to the hyper screen on the EQS review. So you can refer back to that video that we shot recently. And now let's just concentrate on the driving impressions and comparing with Model S and perhaps the upcoming i5 and A6 e-tron. All right, so same gear shifter is right here. And here we go. So we're gonna start in Eco mode. There you go, the mode is right here. Eco, Comfort, Sport, and Individual. So well, let's start in Eco. The climate is on. And spun the wheels is because there was a bit of a sand there on the surface. So we're showing 387 kilometers at 83%. This morning, after a hyper mile exercise yesterday, at 100%, the car was showing 488 kilometers. And that hyper mile resulted in a consumption below 20. It was just around 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, giving it a pretty good range. And that was without climate, with the sunroof open, some of the windows open, etc., etc. So the sound effects of this car, now you will hear them mostly in sport mode, so we'll do that in a moment when you try and accelerate from zero, from standstill. The other thing we wanted to mention is the sunroof is a panoramic sunroof that opens, so you can pop it open like this, or you can slide it open like that. So we love that, that we love opening sunroofs. It's one a big bonus for us, or for me personally. So let's close it. And then you also have the sunshade, which some of the cars with the fixed panorama sunroofs don't have. So the sunroof is closed. Let's close the sunshade now. And again, you just slide your finger forward. There you go. Both the front and the rear sunshades are closing. That's it. Perfect. We love that. Okay, so that being said, let's go to the most aggressive mode. We're gonna go, this is just the comfort. So the default, the car starts in comfort mode. Let's go to sport, there we go. And right away you can hear the sound effects are much stronger. Of course, the car reacts differently to your input in the accelerator pedal. The regen, it's basically the car is mostly coasting right now until you hit the left regen pedal twice. Now with strong recuperation, you can see that the regen is very, very strong once you double tap it. Now this car, just like the EQS, will not stop completely. So it's not full one pedal driving. You still have to depress the brake pedal in order to come to the full stop. So we'll demonstrate it at the stop. Right now you'll see it. We're coming to a stop sign. We're gonna let off the pedal. Very strong regen. There we go. And as you can see, it keeps creeping forward. It just simply will not stop. So the creep is always on. So we have to press on the brake pedal. And now we're ready for the launch. There is a launch mode, we won't use it. 4.5 seconds is not super impressive. Let's go. And it was pretty good, but again, 4.5 seconds doesn't take your breath away. You need to be in a 3.5 seconds. So basically, once we get our hands on the EQE53 AMG with a 3.5 seconds acceleration that matches Tesla Model S long range, that's when we're gonna do the proper launch to have the pleasure of the super fast acceleration of the top of the line Mercedes EQE. Similarly with the EQS, which also comes in the AMG version, they're both called 53, which leads us to believe that there might be an even more powerful version, the 63 or maybe even 73, coming down the road to the market. So there you go. Hopefully you'll be able to hear that on the microphone, through the microphone, all the sound effects of the car. They're quite nice. So the other thing we can mention is the autopilot here with the auto steer. That does come with an automatic lane change. However, it is geofenced, so once we take it out of the village and onto the highway, it's a two-lane highway 12, 2 lanes in each direction. Most likely the automatic lane change will not work because it only works on 400 series highways. So it worked perfectly well on the Gardner, on the DVP, on the 401, on the 400, and that's about it. Once you're on the smaller highways, you will not be able to do it. But it works very well, and it's a very smooth transition from one lane to another, unlike the BMW auto steer and automatic lane change, which is quite abrupt. Maybe it's a question of fine-tuning the software that does that. But yes, it's much more smooth on the Mercedes than the BMW. So here we should also compare with the Model S. Of course, as you know, everybody knows, the Tesla Autopilot and full self-driving is an amazing software. Lets you drive hands-free. Most of the time, even in city situations. Here, the Mercedes, you cannot have hands-free. If you try and do that, the Mercedes, the prompts will come fast and furious. You have to keep your hands on the wheel. There is no hands-free mode on this Mercedes EQE, nor is there such a possibility on the EQS. And we also drove EQS SUV. Again, they're all the same. Mercedes is promising a level 3 soon. But who knows who's going to be first to the market, Tesla or Mercedes? My bet would be on Tesla because they're a software company first and foremost, and they will probably come out with a level 3 autonomy before Mercedes does. But let's see what the future brings. So to set the navigation, you turn on the cruise button here and you press set, and we're set at the speed limit. Now the car changes the speed, adjusts the speeds automatically to the posted speed limit, which is great. We have it on the Audi and we really like it on the Mercedes. So the car will slow down to adjust the speed and it'll speed up to match the posted speed limit, so you don't even have to think about it. The car will do it for you. Love it, okay? Good performance car. Again, Tesla Model S will be one competitor. Where the Tesla does better, the interior space is very similar. Where the Tesla is longer, both front and back. You have more space for your luggage, both in the front, which the Mercedes is missing, and in the back because the trunk is bigger on the Tesla, especially the space under the trunk floor. So that's where the Tesla wins. However, in terms of the comfort, the interior finishes, I would vote for Mercedes. Let's try and get into the left lane if we can, and we'll try and do the lane change once we're on autopilot and see if that's gonna work. We are on the 4-lane highway. However, this is Highway 12. It's not a 400 series highway, so most likely the automatic lane change will not work. Here we go. So let's launch here. And let's just resume here. We can do the speed limit, and let's try and do the lane change. And it's not working, you see? So basically you need to it is geofenced to only 400 series highways, and you will see momentarily the car change the speed because the limit changes here from 80 to 60. The car will automatically slow down. So we're coming up on the change of speed. We like that feature very much. And 3, 2, 1, speed change. Boom, and the car slows down. So that's amazing, right? I really like that. You don't even have to think about it. The car automatically slows down to the posted speed, which is great. Two important points to mention when comparing the Mercedes EQE with Tesla Model S. One thing is the charging speed, which our experience with the ideal conditions on a DC charger that was a brand new IV on Route 400 northbound in King City. We started at 12%. And the car started right away, went up to about 115. Then after a while, it heated up to about 130, and that's it. The machine was a 150 kilowatt machine, as you know, IV en route. That's the limit, but we never got the 150 on this car. The car kept the 130 speed up to about 70% state of charge, and then after 70%, it started ramping down to about 105 or so, and then down from that. We have the full report on the charging speed at various states of charge on our Facebook page if you want to refer to that. The other thing that we want to mention, so here on the charging speed, Tesla wins, because obviously everybody knows that Model S will charge at 240 kilowatts or faster, so it definitely charges faster. It also has a certain curve. We still love the curve on our Audi e-tron, which maintains 150 up to 80% even in the winter when it's properly preconditioned. So a point here for Tesla on the charging speed. However, one other item worth mentioning is the four-wheel steering. Both the EQS and the EQE have four-wheel steering. The standard car on the EQE gets 4.5% or 4.5 degree turning, and then for extra money you can get up to a 10 degree turning on both EQS and EQE, and that makes the turning circle super tight. Now this car was equipped with 4.5 degrees, so our tight parking spots, parallel parking, did not go as well as the EQS or the i7, which have a 10 degree rear wheel steering, but it still was very helpful, and it makes parallel park and high-speed maneuvers also great. So that's one point for Mercedes for sure. Anyway, so that's about it for our review of the EQE500. We look forward to trying out perhaps the less powerful version, the EQE350, as well as the EQE53 AMG, but also and especially EQE SUV, which might be the future replacement for our Audi e-tron. Why is that? Because it's a similar size, similar price, and also it has the wonderful opening sunroof. We love that. So that potentially could be one of the contenders to replace our Audi e-tron in a few years. Actually, our lease is coming up a year from now. By the way, we just got our e-tron back after 4 months. Yes, 4 months in the shop waiting for the new charge port, which broke down during a nice storm, and we just got it back. It took 4 months for the part to arrive from Germany. Imagine that. Thankfully, we had all these wonderful test cars to test, and so we did not suffer too much. We're glad to have it back. I love driving it. I love our e-tron. So does the family, and so we're glad to have it back. That's it for this episode of TEVAdrive. Mercedes EQE, please do compare it with Tesla Model S if you're considering that car. The BMW i5 has not launched yet. It will launch in 2 weeks from now, May 24th. It will be launching, and that will be the direct competitor to this Mercedes EQE. And of course, Audi is way behind on their cars. Because the A6 e-tron is still years away, so not really a competition for now. That's about it. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to press the subscribe button on our channel. If you have any questions, please comment. We'll try and answer all your questions. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.